Welcome to the Creative Marketing Show. It is great to have you here. I am so excited about this show. It really just kind of pulls a lot of things together, but I've really made a nice commitment to sharing a little more information that I have in the past, really pulling together all of my shows on this Monday show, noon Eastern Standard Time, live. This week, we're talking about YouTube marketing strategies. And those of you who catch me in the chat live, I am really excited to share this information as well as answering your questions. Those of you who catch this on the replay, of course, your questions are always welcome in the comments. And of course, we pull this together. You got to acknowledge my photography community over at roshsillars.com, as well as the digital marketing community, marketing strategy community, the combination community over at my YouTube channel. You can catch that at rosh.video. And that's where I go live each Monday. And then, of course, I put the podcast on roshsillars.com. And that's what I want to talk more about in a few moments. But I want to get into our topic of the day because it really is important. You know, marketing strategies are what the podcast or the YouTube channel is about. But I also have some great news information, social media related, that I have a good list of stuff this week. And I will talk more about that. And then, of course, the most important thing, part 3, there are 3 parts to this show, and that is your questions. And I have questions that you have asked me via Twitter as well as on the YouTube channel and at roshsillars.com. So a lot of ways to connect with me. At Rosh Sillars is the Twitter channel if you are interested in asking questions in the future. Here's the deal. We believe in the combination code here. We believe in combining different strategies and tactics to grow our business. If it's a photography business, if it's a online community, if it's, a bricks and mortar store, service or product, it does not matter. We believe that it takes a good combination of different factors to create your combination. And that's what we're searching for. Not only your combination for your business, but your combination as a marketer or in marketing your business. And YouTube is certainly a part of that whole process. There are a lot of ways you can go about YouTube. It's not just one method. There's not just one reason to be on YouTube. And here are a few things to consider. Hubspot states that 59% of the executives, and there's a reason why I'm saying and pointing this statistic out. HubSpot stating that I keep saying 90, a little reverse there. 59% of executives prefer watching video. Now think about that. Many of us are looking. A lot of times I hear this all the time in boardrooms. Oh, we're looking for more of the executive folks. They don't use Google and YouTube. And it's, no, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, these executive people, often highly educated, well-paid, don't use the latest technologies. What do you mean? So if you're trying to promote your business, whether you're an independent professional, you're a freelancer, small business, it doesn't matter. Video is a powerful way to get your story and message across. And so here are a couple more statistics that I thought were really important. Tubular Insights states 70% of YouTube views are on mobile. Now, as we know, our websites, we need to be mobile friendly. But most of the time, people are searching. What we do know about people in general, especially adults, not necessarily the case with kids, but people who are looking for information, especially about products, services, and so forth. The adults are buyers. People who are using mobile are buyers. And if they're looking up information on YouTube videos, reviews especially, then obviously they are ready to make a purchase or they're in the process of making a purchase. Okay, 46% of customers say they have made a purchase because of a video. Absolutely. And also, because of podcasts such as this interview podcast. This one isn't necessarily an interview podcast, although I have had interviews on my podcasts and plan to have more in the future. But generally, this is a one-man show as I share this information. And of course, the community who pops in and asks questions during the show. And podcasts and blogs and video all play an important role. And it's important to have a good text version of your social development. And an audio version, you can use Anchor. I'm using now, which I'll explain more later, SoundCloud, as well as some other options. I brought my podcast into 2018. There's some really good information I want to share with you related to that. And then, video. And I'm going to share with you some of the ways in which I use video. And this maybe can give you a clue, a hint on how maybe you can use it, because I use it for my photography and I use it for my digital marketing company. Video is really powerful. And my speaking, I use it all over the place because it's a way to have people become more familiar with you. So let me just share a little bit about the podcasts. So for years, I have been hand coding XML file my podcast. I haven't paid anything other than storing my video or my audios, MP3s, my MP3s on my drive, my hosting service. And so I've been doing this myself, but the problem with that is I have no idea who's listening, how many people are listening. Now, as many of you know, I started in 99, but then eventually I started regularly. Each step in the technology has allowed me to do a little bit more. And so I did a little bit in 99, 2000, and then I really got back into it 2007 and 8. And this show started in 2008. This summer, next month, or even July, I'm going to have to look that up so we can celebrate the 10 years. But here's the deal. I had no idea how many people were listening. So after 5 years, every Monday, nonstop, for 5 years, I eventually broke and then became very inconsistent with the show. We've talked about this a lot through the years, basically because the fact that, I probably feel bad about it. And that's why it's my conscience talking about it. But I think I fixed all this. And the neat thing is, of course, I'm doing this live show here on YouTube. And then now I'm combining it. And actually, I'm recording it now on a separate track too. Why is that? Because sometimes there are breakups during the show. Maybe you listened to the last couple of shows and you heard me talking. Then all of a sudden and then I start talking about something else, or it just could have been a couple seconds of a break. But if you're an audio listener, you don't want that. So, nobody wants it in video either, but that's kind of the platform with the live, but not the case from a podcast. It really should be pretty straightforward. Anyway, so that's my backup. So I have a second track going for the podcast now. So I switched over as I started doing the Outcome digital podcast. I started that with my friends Jeff and Chris, and you can go to outcome.digital and you can hear us talking about all various things usually related to marketing. We've been in the business together for many years, worked at different companies together and so forth. And they're using SoundCloud, and the podcast company that we're using is using SoundCloud. And I just said, I really need to do something about this because I'm having more and more people ask, and I've turned down through the years the opportunity for sponsors and so forth because I have no idea who's listening. Well, I did finally do it. I pulled the trigger just to get to the point. And wow, I didn't realize how many people actually listen to the show. So this is what I have to say right now is thank you. Thank also so many of you who do listen to this show on all different channels. And now we're on even more channels. So I know a number of people are new people listening to this show. So that's just a little break here in the middle of this. I wanted to share that information with you because I think it is very important to the longtime podcast listeners as well as the new podcast listeners, welcoming you, the new ones, and thanking the old ones because we have over 400 podcasts now. And I really do see this being a Monday tradition, noon Eastern Standard Time. And I'll release the show on SoundCloud every Monday afternoon. So that's the plan. If worst case scenario, it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, but the plan is every Monday. And again, thank you. Okay, so let's get into the rest of our main conversation. And that, of course, has to do with how to use YouTube. And in the future, I won't have a break like that, but I thought that was so important to get that in early. So how have I been using YouTube? I've been using YouTube to develop my expertise. And I've done this in two areas, both on the marketing side as well as the photography side. Now, on the business side of photography is where I like to share my information. Actually, the American Society of Media Photographers, I'm actually the ASMP president in Michigan currently. And we're having a meeting, YouTube and your photography, here in Michigan at the end of the month. So you go to asmp.org/Michigan. If you're in the area, you can come and see. And we have a couple people presenting, including myself, as well as some other YouTubers who are doing pretty well on YouTube. They're photographers who are doing well and how it's helped their business. And so I thought, we're going all the way across the board. I'm going to talk tomorrow on the YouTube channel. I have a video coming out how I'm making money on YouTube with less than 1,000 subscribers. And I am making money on YouTube with less than 1,000 subscribers. So that's important. So some people use YouTube straight up to make money. That's what they're trying to do. Not only are they trying to develop their expertise or share fun videos, but they want to make money using AdSense. But here's the thing. You probably want to have a plan bigger than AdSense. And what is AdSense? AdSense is the system in which Google, YouTube pays you when your videos are monetized. Now, for your videos to be monetized, you need to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time per year. And you say, well, then, how can you be making money if you don't even have 1,000 subscribers? Well, first of all, I had been a part of the partner program a long time ago, and I was making money until they changed the rules on us in February, which of course gives me encouragement to get to that 1,000 mark. But I was making $20, $30 a month. Now is where I'd be now based on the views. And, every 3-4 months, taking my wife out to dinner on YouTube, I was happy with that. I was very happy with that. But now, obviously, but I have other ways, and I'll talk about that in the video tomorrow. Okay, so I also use YouTube in my videos on my website to explain what I'm doing. Here's a great example. So I went to, and this happened more than once. I went to an office the other day, and when I got there, the people knew who I am. Why? Because they checked me out. Now, when you're going to have a meeting with somebody, quite often you go to their website to check them out. Now, imagine a video there, developing the relationship, warming the relationship up, showing your expertise before you even walk in the door. And that is what I'm finding is happening. And I'm doing this two ways. I have this on my website. So each page has a video. So if I'm talking about photography, or if I'm talking about search engine optimization, or if I'm talking about pay-per-click, whatever I'm talking about, I have a video there welcoming the person, talking a little bit about the topic, and maybe addressing some of the concerns they have, or maybe overcoming objections that they're not getting answered on other people's websites in a more personable way. It's powerful. Not only that, I have in my emails a message to people, just a very basic message, a video that people see, and they watch that video, and I make connections that way. That's pretty amazing too. So I'm connecting with people multiple ways with my videos on my website, developing my expertise on YouTube, sharing it in social media, as well as, of course, on my emails. So those are three main ways that I am using YouTube as a marketing strategy to grow my businesses. And it works. As much of anything, developing my name, whether it's within the marketing or photography community, it has great benefits. And softening the ground for future sales, when people feel like they know you before you come walking in the door, whether it's going to be for a portrait or weddings, or maybe if you're going to be writing for a website or designing a website, or maybe you're pitching a new product, giving people a sense of what's coming at them. They don't have to have their guard up as much because they have a sense of knowledge already. Okay, so what are some of the other strategies you can consider? And another one, one of the first things that people will say is, well, I want to create a viral video. And then you have these other folks who will say, well, viral is not a marketing strategy. Well, yeah, it actually is. There are people who create viral videos. They know how. They know primal branding. They know made to stick. They know the various ways in which you can connect with people. They know how to do this stuff. And do they create a viral video every single time? No, but it is a method. And generally, look, it's an art. It really is an art. And those of us who are very creative, a little bit easier than for other people, but you need to make it simple. Usually the viral videos are rather short. They're simple. They're timely. They're funny or profound. They're getting people's attention. They laugh and then they share it. And that's the bottom line. But getting that right combination, of course, is always quite the effort. I mean, that's just the case. You always have to consider, sometimes people want, a 5-minute viral video, and that's not necessarily, honestly, we're talking 30 seconds here, or sometimes 10 seconds to get people's attention, get them laughing, and get them off to sharing. So some other things that you can do. Obviously, you can develop relationships with influencers. I've certainly talked about that on my other videos and other shows. Working with influencers, people already have a following. And if they have a following that would appreciate your product, appreciate your service, that can be a really great way to grow your business. It's happening more and more. And I've talked about this in a few other podcasts where we talked about the fact that as I'm reviewing and looking over these different brands and how they grew their business, how many times, especially today, it was influencers, just like the rock star, movie star, sports star of the past. Today, influencers that people are following based on whatever the topic may be make a difference. And if they talk about your product, it's going to encourage people to check it out. That third-party confirmation. It's really a powerful way. And it can be micro-influencers. It does not have to be a large influencer. You feel like, wow, I can't get to this person. They have, 5 million followers. Well, get to the people that have 25, 50,000 followers. It won't cost as much, and it may not be as high maintenance. I don't know, maybe more. I don't know, really. It just depends on the personality, of course, right? So, but instead of one person, all your eggs in one basket, you can try multiple people and see which ones actually work. Every influencer has a different amount of engagement. And so you need to consider that and look at their streams, look at everything, see how people are connecting with them, and make your choices there. You can also use YouTube for advertising, and quite honestly, it is not that expensive. It's actually relatively inexpensive. And so if you really want to get the word out there, you can target a specific area, a region, people with interest, just like you can do with any other kind of ads, but it's even more focused than, say, TV. Where you can put your ads around specific topics or certain types of TV shows and so forth, but you're not quite as targeted as you would be with a YouTube advertisement, because you're getting exactly who is interested in that, and you can even narrow it down. Not just everybody who's interested in that topic, but everybody who's interested in that topic who lives in a specific area or is in a certain age range, or has been to other websites similar, things like that. So there are a lot of ways to approach it. Okay, so beyond advertising, we have customer service. And customer service is a great way to keep your customers happy. So when you create a video about how to better use your product, or even what to expect when using your service. So maybe you have a service, a tip to the hat to my photography community. Maybe they have a wedding, and you explain the process on your website, what they're going to expect, what they're going to see when working with you. That is great. And also the testimonials. Testimonials are an excellent way to use YouTube videos. So that's what I would consider show people how to do the things that they're most complaining about. Maybe you've had this new super cool bike that you've created and you have that out and you're selling it, but there's this one part that everybody has a problem with for some strange reason. Well, create a video, show them how to fix it or what they need to do or how to return the part if there's an issue that way. So there's a lot of ways. The easier you can make it for people, the better off you're going to be, and it's gonna help your company. Okay, here's some tips about growing your YouTube channel. One, understanding the SEO of YouTube, and this is not a SEO show. I actually have some videos on SEO for YouTube, and I recommend you take a look at them. But there are other people such as Brian G. Johnson, Nick Nimmin, Owen Video. These folks can really give you some insights into Daryl Eves, Tim Schmoyer. These people can give you great insights into how to grow your YouTube channel. So I would highly recommend that. But there's nice new metrics related to YouTube now. You're able to see the impressions and the click-through rate, which really will allow you to understand, what people are most interested in, the topics and the thumbnails, because it's really important to look. You have to have a great topic. You have to have an excellent headline and an awesome thumbnail. Those three things are what you need to get people to click on the video. But for YouTube to show that video, they need to actually watch it. So it's not all about clicks. It's people watching it. So how long are they watching that video? Are they watching it at 10%, 50%, 75%? Trust me, if they're only watching 10% of the video, YouTube is not going to share it. There's not as much of engagement. People may be clicking on your great headline, but ultimately they're not going to share or promote it, because there are a couple ways to get your videos seen. There are a number of ways. Obviously, your own ways through your email list and social media, which are important and very helpful. But as far as YouTube is concerned, you have search, which I consider this great engine of opportunity. And then there's the bonus, which is when YouTube picks up your video and starts sharing it. And that's suggested videos. So you have suggested videos and search. Search is using your search engine optimization, being very specific and having a great video that just slowly moves up the ranks, just like it would on Google. However, if you really want to go far, you got to tap into that suggested videos. And in that one, if you do really well and do everything right, have a great video, people are watching it, they're really engaged with it, chances are that YouTube will start to promote it. You start doing a good job. That's how videos go viral more than anything. That is how YouTube channels grow, is because they're really optimizing for suggested videos, which is really is the way to go. Now, right now for me, I'm about, let's see, I would say it's about even between suggested, as I read last time I looked at the statistics. Yeah, probably like 10 minutes before the show. No. Yeah, I mean, if you start doing YouTube, you probably watch the statistics more than you want to admit. But yeah, it's about even suggested and search. So search is really important because that's evergreen content that people are looking for. Okay, very good. So, hey, all of you who are listening to this point, thank you so much. And as always, if you enjoy these shows, if you appreciate the direction I am going with the podcast, as well as the video, the live video on Mondays, make sure you head on over to iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and SoundCloud and let me know. One thing about Stitcher, and I'm going to have to mention this a number of times, the only one in this whole switch was Stitcher. Now, those old XML files are going to one. There are two shows on there now, and so the Creative Marketing Show only has podcasts from number 400 or 402 on, and so if you're catching this somewhere along the way and you hear this, go into Stitcher and switch to the newer one, because eventually at some point, I almost think that Stitcher may have stopped updating that other one altogether and are just updating the new one. But the fact is that the older one will not be updated at some point in time. Now, that may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. Who knows? But that's going to it's going to switch over. And I have a feeling that Stitcher has actually caught on to what has happened, but they're not necessarily moving everyone over from the old channel who is subscribed there to the new one. So, but everything else should be the same. If you're listening to iTunes, you're listening to iTunes. You may have noticed a difference, how many archive shows are there, but they're still there. So definitely, send a review. Reviews are very important, whether it's on YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher or wherever. And this is true for any one of the podcasters and video creators that you listen to, because it really is important when you comment to help their show. That, especially when you're getting your shows for free, that's their currency. That is how they are able to share with more people, because that's how the algorithms work. The more people who engage with their stuff, the more they show it to more other people, and it just kind of spirals from there. Okay, on to the news. There's a number of things, and then from there we will get into the question and answer section. And if I have questions on today's show live, I will certainly answer for you to everyone. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, this was interesting. So Google, there's been a lot of conversation about Google snippets taking up more and more of the search, and Google has just cut them by half, which is interesting because it seemed like snippets and so forth. Snippets are just taking basic information from your site and put it in as an answer, and that was not happening as much anymore, which we thought, well, it was not good because people weren't necessarily going to your website. What this means is more search results are available to get people to your website. So it's actually a good thing for you and me. I'm just kind of curious as to why Google is doing this, but it's interesting to note that Google has cut down the snippets by half. Google Maps to notify customers when businesses respond to reviews. Back to the whole engagement thing, getting people involved, getting people back on their site. That's good, because especially if somebody has a complaint, Google does pay attention, especially in local search, does pay attention to the reviews, to Yelp, and of course, especially Google reviews. And if you receive a bad something or a good something, you don't always know if people actually saw your message, your resolution to help them. So this will be a great, nice feature that will help really, one, improve engagement, and then also give you a little peace of mind that people are seeing the stuff that you're sharing. Okay, this is very interesting. So for years, we've talked about, we've asked this question. I ask this question a lot when I'm speaking, and that is, what percentage each day of questions in Google have never been seen before by Google? And some people think, wow, it can't be very much, because there are a lot. People are asking questions all day long. There most certainly can't be something new. And the answer is every day, 15%. 15% of questions asked of Google have never been asked before. And the reason for this is there are a number of reasons. There are always new things going on, right? New vocabulary, new people, new stuff out there. So life, everything continues to move forward. Plus, people are now talking into their phones. They're asking Google a long-winded question to get around to the point. And so that is why. And they first started this, they first mentioned this over 25% in the mid-2000s. And a few years ago, they checked it again. It was about 15%. And so it went down. And so they checked it again, and it stayed steady. It's still 15% of questions asked of Google have never been asked before. Very interesting. Okay, many of you may have seen a lot of terms of service updates. You may have noticed that every time you log into some place you haven't logged in for a while, you have noticed that, oh, new terms of service need to update. You're going to see it more and more and more as we get to May 25th, because the new GDPR, that is the guidance protection in the UK, not the UK, in euro, wow, European Union, that is going into effect May 25th, and a lot of people need to be updated. We've talked about this, about the importance of it. I have a video on this if you're interested, and if you need to worry about it, if you're outside of the Eurozone, you'll need to know this information. And I gotta say, I know a lot of people now that I have the new statistics, I know a lot of people are listening from the UK all the way to Australia, many points within Europe, and even places in the Middle East and Africa and Asia that I didn't even know existed. There are towns that I did not know of. Thank you all for listening. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so you'll see more and more stuff like that. You'll notice that we talked about the clear history tool that Facebook is giving us. In other words, the ability to clear our history after we've liked pages and so forth. That stuff is tracked, and now we can clear that. Just kind of like you can clear your cache in your browser, you can do the same thing. If it's not quite released to you yet, it should be coming soon, allowing you to clear your history within Facebook, which, there's two sides of that. We clear your history. How well are you going to end up with ads that are relevant to you? Because here's the thing, there are going to be ads somewhere. And there's, of course, rumblings about paid Facebook. That could happen too. Maybe it would be right for you, maybe not. But there's going to be ads in those locations. Why not let them be relevant to you? But for some people, they don't want anything relevant to them or any kind of, let it be random. I don't care because I do not want to look at ads. I don't want Facebook tracking. So that may be the case for you, and that's just fine. Facebook is to launch or has launched live cross posting. So those of you who are Facebook Live people, you like to do Facebook Live, well, guess what? You can now put your live feed over multiple pages. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool because some of us own multiple pages and we'd like to do a live show over multiple pages because it's relevant to the people on the different pages. They may have a little bit different area of expertise, or maybe one's a certain type of community, another one's another type of community. However, your live show is relevant to all, and being able to share that during your live shows, that's pretty cool. So that's coming out. If you don't have that yet, that should be pretty soon. Something else that they're testing right now is rewinding. So allowing people to rewind during your live, and you can do that right now on YouTube. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can actually go back and take a look maybe 15 minutes ago, what I was talking about, the very beginning, when I was talking about the different strategies related to YouTube. You don't have to start at the very beginning or right where I am now. You can start at any point in time. Now, obviously the chat, especially when you have a really, really large YouTuber that has a lot of people chatting, that's going to be a little off when you're doing that. But yeah, anyway, that's going to be a nice addition. Okay, Instagram is reportedly testing a feature that allow users to add music to stories. And I started playing with a few of the new things. There's a new poll option in stories too, where it's a slider. It's not just, it's yes or no, and how much yes, how much no. And there's a emoji slider coming out where you can say, okay, I'm like 60% yes, or 40% no, or whatever it may be. So it's not, you can kind of gauge things a little bit, maybe more exact. I thought that was pretty cool. So there's a lot of new things. A lot of the new stuff on Instagram has to do with stories. Stories are still a powerful way to promote what you're doing, to give people behind the scenes. I think that's really, really cool. So I'm all for that, especially when you can gather information. When you are wondering what should you be doing next related to your marketing, related to your business, well, put out some kind of a poll on Facebook. I use Twitter all the time for polls. I've gained a lot of really nice insight onto what I should do next. I mean, I'm not using all of the data as like, wow, okay, community says yes today for this, and no. But if I run a few different polls and I can see some continuous themes and I will be swayed to move one direction or another based on what I am seeing in polls. And you can do the same thing. So you don't always have to do this all alone when running your business. You have a community, no matter how large or small, people on your, again, Facebook and of course the stories that we just mentioned to give you some insight into what your community would be most interested in. But again, if you are targeting people that are not traditionally in your community, then you're going to have to take those results, of course, with a grain of salt. Okay. Oh, rest in peace. Clout. Last piece of the news story. Well, no, I got a couple more things. Clout. Maybe many of you remember Clout. Clout gave us our Clout number. How much clout do you have? And I remember I was always like in the 60s or something. Yes, I wore that badge, big, of course. But, over time, that became less and less of a factor. The people kind of ignored it, and it slowly has faded. And now it is gone. And funny enough, I had just checked it out a couple days before, saying, hey, whatever happened to Clout? This is still around. And I checked on it. And then 2 days later, I see the story closing down, done. And I can see why. The last thing. Okay, so the last thing, those of you who are interested, there are 8 million Slack users now. I have not used Slack in a couple of years, but when I was using it a lot, it was usually for team building and work and connections. And it's a great platform. If you work with teams, consider using Slack. 8 million and 3 million paid users. So that's still a growing platform. Sometimes we don't use something, so we think, oh, it must be dying. Not the case. So if you like to work in teams, definitely consider Slack. Wow. Okay. So we've gone through, we're 2/3 of the way through the show. The last part of the show, of course, are your questions. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And of course, I have questions here ready to go. If you want to connect with me, at Rosh Sillars on Twitter is a great way to go. The photography community, you can always catch me on the roshsillars.com blog. And of course, right here on the YouTube channel, you can catch me. If you ever just want to get to the YouTube channel quickly, just put in rosh.video and it takes you right to the YouTube channel. How sweet is that? That's pretty cool. Okay. So let's see. Questions. The first question is from Adam. And Adam is a photographer. He's been in the business for 2 years. And he's wondering, how he uses Facebook and Pinterest for family photography. I use both Twitter and Instagram for his nature photography. But he feels kind of clueless in terms of the marketing. And really, I responded to him and I said, this is a big topic. But, by far, if someone just comes to me and says, just give me that one thing that will keep me going to grow my business. What is that? And I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear Twitter on my face. You tell me what that one thing is. Well, if it was Twitter or Facebook, then I'd have to say that. But that's not what it is. That one thing are partnerships. And I've done a number of videos on that. And the bottom line is when you partner with other companies who are going after the same target market, or already have those clients that you are looking for, you are on your way. I have grown more than one company by taking the time to connect with people. And I'm reinforcing that. I've just started my new program, discovering more and more types of people I can connect with and partner with, and giving them a really nice incentive. And that new incentive is just to say, look, if you refer somebody to me, and they're able to do this, obviously, it depends on the type of company, but if they're a freelancer or a contractor, it's no big deal. If you refer somebody to me, I will give you the first month fee. Now that's not for my photography, but that is for my digital marketing. And so let's say somebody refers, the lowest number in that whole package, so if I do monthly amounts, the lowest number is $300. And that's for a very, very small pay-per-click campaign. So, but let's say it's $300. And so what I say is you refer and we close them and we get 2 months down. You get one and I get the other. And there we go. And then it's up to me to keep the client. Whether I win or lose on this, you still got your money. That's $300. But a lot of my clients are $500, $700, $1,000, $2,000 a month. So imagine somebody refers something to me and I hand them a check for $1,000 as soon as we're underway with that client. That is incentive. I was doing 10%, over a year and so forth, which again, I've talked about many times, trying to get people excited about a 10% referral fee or, a free month of something. It's just hard to do. So this is something they can get people excited about, more happy. It's not a long-term thing. It closes, they get some cash. But that's a partnership. That's developing relationships with people and hopefully giving them good information. So that's what I would say. Now, you can have just a referral fee back and forth. I've done that with other photographers. Sometimes you have a referral fee. Sometimes you don't. You just say, look, you do this, I do that. We have different types of photography. We'll just trade leads. And that can work out just fine too. Okay, the next question. Is it too late to start a YouTube channel? Well, that is a question that is perfect for this show, of course. And the answer is no. There are so many niches. And that's the thing. If you want to be a big-time vlogger, it's not too late, but you better be darn good. I mean, really good, and bring something new to the table in terms of personality and style. However, there are so many niches out there that are just, I'm telling you, the nichier, the better. That's how you're going to build, especially on the search side, finding the questions that people are asking. They're not enough. There are, believe it or not, just about, not just about everything, but a lot of things have been addressed. I think a great example is the pricing for photography show. I have a show, just like this show, you can go to price.photography, and that's pricing for photographers. And I'm expanding it out now into more business for photographers. However, when I started, I'm watching a lot of shows, photography YouTubers, and they're talking about, oh, there's this one question everybody asks. It's like the number one question. And I'm going to do a video on it. And they do a video on it, and that's it. They do one video on it. And that's pricing for their photography. People are always asking, looking for information about pricing their photography. But everybody does a video on it, not a channel. So there's a niche that has a lot of demand. And so that's why I did that. And it's growing twice as fast as this channel. So there you go. It's that kind of a thing. Look for the questions people are asking within a niche, and you will find your way. And then as you develop authority, you can then branch out into other areas. So you don't have to be in that niche forever. Your branching out should be related, of course, but that doesn't have to be, to the day you die kind of a thing. Okay, next question. That was a good question. I'm happy I caught that one. How long does it take marketing to work? Another good question, and one I get often. Of course, I get that from clients, and I also get that from folks just emailing me and saying, what should I expect? Here's the deal. Traditionally in advertising, people will say, don't just try something once. It's just a waste of money. And that's probably true 99% of the time. Yes, there's always that one time you tried something, you got this great client. You just tried one ad and there you go, that was it. But chances are it didn't work again for a while. It's just luck of the draw. Here's the thing. Usually 3-6 months, and that's why you need to make sure, because you have to refine, especially in digital. You have to continuously refine and refine. And I would say 3 to 6 months. Make sure you have a budget that will cover that. And then if it all fails, you're not out of business, but you have enough to cover that investment. Don't go into any kind of marketing with the idea, well, I'll put my $1,000 in, and if I make my money back, I'll do it again next month. Just send the $1,000 to charity. You're not going to get all that, but you may get some of it back. And hey, if you do it really well, it can. If you're really good, obviously in the beginning, but you're always refining. It takes time to develop, and you need to make sure that you're getting a positive ROI. I have worked with clients, and I've even had to turn down clients because even if I'm doing my job well, they're not going to get a positive ROI because it takes so much to get so many clients in. So if someone wants to put $1,000 down a month and their profit margin is 3%, you know what? It's not going to work. A 3% profit margin, it's going to cost, a lot more to get a client than it would be to, so you see what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to look at the lifetime value of the client. Now we say, okay, a one-time sale may not be right, but the lifetime value of that client covers the amount you're putting down. So if you're able to get 3 or 4 clients, new clients or sales for that $1,000 for the sake of argument, you would pay for everything and be within your profit margin. I mean, these are numbers. Obviously, all those numbers don't add up perfectly, but the point being is you need to check that out. And so you do have to keep an eye on that, but you need to give your marketing time to evolve, to continuously test and keep improving upon your marketing. That's the great thing about digital is you can keep testing. It's not like a magazine where you put a headline in, put a photo in, and you're stuck in that book, at least for until the next issue. And this situation, you can test things for a few days, get enough data, and make good decisions and changes. So there you go. That's my answer. Now, if you want to grow your business, obviously, or become some sort of an influencer or, big time YouTuber, I say give it at least a year to have a sense if things are going to work or not, because that does take some time and a lot of work. And, it can even take a couple, 2-3 years for it to really click into where you want it to be. I've seen that before. It's certainly, my channel grows, but it's, at an average pace. It just keeps growing. But I think I have enough content that at one point I might get a good bump. But hey, that's everybody's dream, isn't it? Okay. So last question, and that is how to grow on Instagram. That was the question. Okay. So this is my best advice. I am not a top influencer on Instagram. I use Instagram because if you go to my Instagram, it's just stuff I like. I have no real plan around Instagram other than really what Instagram is for. Share your observations and things and make them look pretty. And that's what I do with Instagram. If it's flowers, I like old rusty things. I like flowers, sometimes a little food, or just, I like shadows, finding shadows and so forth. But how does that help me grow on Instagram? Well, one thing I have noticed, because I made a little more of a commitment, say in the last month, to Instagram. The more I post, the more activity. It rolls. I mean, you can see the algorithm working. You have to post a lot. You do need to use hashtags. You can use a lot of hashtags, but don't use the top hashtags. Dig down. Don't look for the super popular hashtags, because you really want to hit. You got to hit in those top 9 areas of views for any topic. Now, because of the discoverability stuff, it's getting a little easier for you to be found in different areas. But ultimately, I think just like a lot of social, the more you post, the better, to the point in which quality goes down. So I think on Instagram, you can post valuable. Definitely use the stories. Instagram loves to share those stories. But again, make sure it's something that is hitting the target market you want to hit, especially if that's what you wish to do in the future. So if you're out to target and attract certain people, make sure that you are posting the kind of stuff that they would most likely be interested in. Okay, so that was a lot today. That we're up to 50 minutes now. This has been fun. I think that the combination podcast. Those of you who have made it this far and have listened. The thing is that after 10 years of doing this podcast, it's gone through many different types of incarnations. And I've gone back and forth to purely photographers. But now that I'm doing this live on my regular YouTube channel, obviously I broaden it out. But I certainly give a tip of the hat to my photography community, because this is also hosted. The main podcast is hosted on the RoshSillars.com. So it's really both communities. But here's the thing. We all have the same goal, and that is to grow our businesses. And using the marketing strategies on the Marketing Strategies channel, pulling those in, having that topic each week, having that main topic related to a marketing strategy, then getting into the news of what is happening. A lot of it related to social media and Google. I've been reporting a lot on that. And that's where I've made the commitment to really boost that up, to really give you the information you need to help you grow your business. And then from there, answering your questions in the last third of the show. And that way we can keep building, your business, which is really the main point of all this. So as I wrap this up, if there are any last questions at all, I am more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you again next Monday, Eastern Standard Time, every week. Thank you so much. You have a great day.